Directors.
I got it.
Please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ann, would you please call roll?
Bocce,
Here.
Tom Trino,
Here.
Scott Harris,
Scott is absent.
Bill England,
Here.
John Moe,
Here.
Laurie Blank, and Ann Reardon here.
Eric, was the meeting properly noted?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it was.
Okay, do I have a motion to waive the reading of the previous month's minutes?
I make a motion to waive that.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion? Nope. Good. Eric, did we have anybody sign up tonight to speak?
Yeah, we did. Jolene is going to go later on, or
No,
this is something separate?
this is something else. Oh.
Jolene Porter.
It's over here, too.
Anybody? Okay. Okay, I'd like the board to consider moving the night bingo.
No.
Yes,
Volleyball.
I'm at night volleyball, excuse me. I was in bingo mode back there. Night volleyball to from 4 to 5:30 instead of 4:30 to 6. So I was asked by the volleyballers to propose that to the board.
4 to 5:30.
4 to 5:30. It'll be the same length of time, it's just moving a half an hour earlier. And it'll be done by 5:30 instead of 6.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did we have anybody else?
Yes, Jeff Stark.
Jeff Stark.
I forgot to put my name on.
Did I give you each a handout?
Sir?
It's 4 pages, even though it's only 2 on the staple. You don't want it?
I've done a lot of research on it.
Well, you don't have to go back at me, at least you courtesy taken it.
I would have wanted it up if I was throwing it at you. Sorry.
You would have done that once. Thank you. That's appropriate.
No, we're just joking.
So, I'm gonna guess we're gonna talk about speed bumps.
Yeah, if you go, my name is Jeff Stark, if any of you don't know me. I've lived here for 20 years as a full-time resident on Windsor Club Circle. You may have seen a guy running around on a black motorcycle occasionally, that's me. Okay? In my 20 years of being here, my main peeve has always been speeding, as some of you know. And I think I have a semi-solution to it after all these years, because no one seems to be able to take care of this. What we have out there now, those yellow things are called speed bumps. And you all know what happens, the truck goes
Please
over.
address the board.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, when we go over the bumps of the ambulances and the police cars and UPS, doesn't matter how slow they go ba-dum, ba-dum. They can't help it because that's the way the speed bumps work. I gave each of the board members a 4-page handout explaining the difference between speed humps and speed bumps. The main problem I see from doing around my survey here today, the main problem is Windsor Club, the north to south side of Windsor Club, the back end. You go down there, there's 2 blind corners, there's no speed bumps, there's mailboxes there, and there's nothing to stop anyone from speeding on there. That's the main one, which is that street on the back page in handwriting. The next one is Blackberry. From Blackberry North, all the way down to the end, all the way down to the dog park, there is absolutely no speed bumps. There's mailboxes, etc., etc. But on Saleview, which is a dead-end street, we've got 3 speed bumps. It doesn't make any sense. Eric told me at one time that the reason the speed bumps are on Sailview is because people walk across the parking lot to get to their cars.
Sailview's a parking lot, not a boulevard.
Okay. I went around today and checked every condo parking lot in this place. Every condo in here that has a parking lot, people walk across the parking lot to get to their car. There are no speed bumps or warnings anywhere in the place except on Sailview.
Yeah.
And there's cars on both sides of the street. Okay. On Lakeside, there's 2 bumps from the gate to the sign. From the stop sign to the end, which is over here, there's only 2 bumps. That's, I think Eric will tell you, that's what, 3/10 of a mile, 4/10 of a mile
I don't know how
in
far.
distance?
I'm not sure how far it is. I thought you were gonna ask me how many.
Okay, here's what I'm recommending. I'd like a complete evaluation using speed bumps,
Jeff,
not
Jeff.
bumps.
Carl can't hear you. Can you speak into the microphone for him?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd recommend to the board a complete evaluation using speed bumps, or speed humps and not bumps, especially on Windsor Club and Blackberry. They did an experiment. Humps would control the speed. Your car goes over them, it doesn't bump into it, floats over them if you're doing 15 miles an hour. You can get a hump for any speed you want, 5 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour. You float over it, you just drive over it. Ambulances won't go ba-doom, trucks won't go ba-doom, and your car won't go ba-doom, unless you're doing 25 or 30 miles an hour. They're black, they have white arrows on them, they're not obtrusive as far as coloring, these bright yellow ones are out here. Every vehicle that goes over there at the right speed won't even know they're there. I'm sure you've all been through residential neighborhoods that have had these where it says, kids that play, speed bump ahead. And you go over it, and you go over it. Okay? They're easy to install, they're black with white markings, they're replaceable instantly, and they can be installed by our present employees. My suggestion, if you look on the other part, the printed out part, about the actual things on the back of it, you can buy them for $96.95. What I would suggest to the board, and if somebody wants me to put me in charge of this, I'd be glad to take this over and help you with it, is you buy 4 or 6 of them and put them out there and try them and see how they work. You only have an investment of $400, and Bruce can put them in. They're not hard to put in. They don't need signage to speak of. Simple to do. They match the pavement already, and they'll solve your speeding problem. And if that works, then you go on and you finish off the rest of them. And you get rid of the yellow things.
Thank you, Jeff.
I have a couple questions.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Certainly, we are not dismissing the thought of doing a correction on here to get the speeding under control. I'm all on board with that. You're right. The ones that we have now, when the ambulance go, it's clunk, clunk, just like it is when you go over it with a pickup or a larger vehicle. I personally don't know how many series of these you would have to have in a row to effectively slow that speeding down in a consistent manner here. We recently talked about putting a series of speed humps by the front gate to slow people coming through there, so our gate operates more in an efficient manner and the way it's supposed to. We've had discussions about this in the past. We've talked, Carl has brought this up, and we really haven't made a solid decision on it. The speed humps that you're talking about have a threshold. So if it's a 10 mile an hour, it's designed for 10 miles an hour. But to have we'll say a knee-jerk reaction, you have to exceed that 10 miles an hour by a certain amount. Typically, it's about 5 miles an hour. So if you had a 10 mile, it would slow them to 15. If you had a 15, it wouldn't slow them to 15.
Correct. Correct.
We're also concerned about handicapped access in here for those that have the carts. that won't be able to go over those. We cannot block the drainage of Blackberry, so we have a situation of placement. We don't want to put them down and just have people drive around them.
If you had on Blackberry, for instance, where there's houses on both sides of the street, you could put, to experiment, 2 6-footers, one on that side of the drain and one on that side of the drain, which let the handicapped people go around. It won't affect golf carts either, because they just go over it like a car goes over it and try it out. And just try it out on, that's the particular, the racetrack street. On my particular street, on Windsor Club, that back end over there, there's 2 blind corners, literally blind corners, that people come around that corner.
Yes, you have a bush over there that we've talked
And
about.
even the other side, it's the only 2 90-degree turns in this place, and they're both blind corners. And there's nothing before them or after them to slow people down coming around that curve.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll look into this a little deeper. I'll have Eric look at some prices. I don't know that a $99 one would be durable, but what do I know? Thank you. We also are trying to limit our discussions on the open forum to 4 minutes.
Okay. I just want to remind the board that the #1 rule in the bylaws of Pine Ridge, #1 rule is the speed limit in Pine Ridge is 15 miles an hour.
Yep,
Correct.
Not Rule 44 or 49, so it's #1.
yep.
You're right.
And 20 years, it's never been enforced. We don't have a finding committee, obviously. We always talk about it, we don't have.
That's a very difficult find to accomplish also. Thank you.
How do you have it? How do you stop it?
I do
Right.
have a couple questions though, engineering wise.
Well, the one thing I'd say, I agree that 15 miles an hour is a very important rule, one of the most important, but they're not, I don't think, in order of importance as far as what we have.
Yeah, I didn't write the bylaws, and you didn't write the bylaws, but somebody
It is-
did.
It is probably the
40 years
rule
ago.
that has been ignored the most.
Exactly.
And I agree with Jeff that, I mean, I don't,
It's
I'm
only-
not, I'm not familiar, don't, and know
I live by the
anything
stop
about
sign at Windsor
something
Club, and I
that-
see ladies out there at nighttime at 10 o'clock walking their dog, and people blowing through the stop sign. And, you know, they don't see the car coming, they can't hear, if you get a south wind, you get the noise off the interstate, you can't really hear a car coming. And they're walking their dogs, and the dog is over there, and next thing you know, here comes a car by, and they're jumping out of the way.
You're right. We do want safety here.
Jeff, my questions, how do these attach? Are they bolted on?
You get 12-inch spikes, you just
Okay.
drive it into the ground.
So it's not
That's why
pavement?
Bruce could do this.
Like the current ones we have?
No, none of this cement stuff. Bruce could do one of these in 10 minutes, literally.
Okay. And why does this slow a car and not bump like the bump does?
Why is
What's-
what?
What,
It's wider.
Because it's like a wave in the water. It's not like hitting it's like a wave in the water, like this. If you hit it too fast, you're gonna go boom. If you just go over like a boat in a wave, you just go over it.
Bumps do so,
We'll
slow
go
down,
out
but
and
this
look at
is
it
a better
in
way.
other places.
And not that you would need,
do they work?
you wouldn't need 50, just to get the thing started, to get people the idea, to bring them down to a speed limit, especially on Windsor Club and back on Blackberry.
Yeah.
And you got people going to mailboxes on both those streets. Meanwhile, Royale, which is between my street and Windsor Club, there's speed bumps on there. It's the straightest narrow street, and Salem's got 3 to that end.
Jeff, just because you've studied this, do the speed bumps really slow people down? I mean, aren't they still
No,
speeding
what
right
happens,
now?
what happens is they come up to it and slow down. They go 20 miles, 30 miles an hour between them, and then slow down and go over it, and go 20 or 30 miles an hour to the next one. It's the same, again, I know I'm past my 4-minute limit. I'll just give you an example of what happens here. This is, I've watched this. If you go out the gate, before you get to the gate, there's a gigantic wide white line. It's probably a foot and a half wide, like a stop line, but way before the gate. Before that line, about 30 feet, there's a small white stripe, about a foot and a half long and about 3 inches wide. I had that put there for my motorcycle,
Right.
because that's where the tripper is. The tripper isn't up there by the big white line, it's back there by the thin white line. If you go over that thin white line at 7 or 8 miles an hour in your car instead of 15 or 20 miles an hour, you don't have to touch your brake to go out to the gate. As you get to the gate's open. But everybody goes sliding up to the gate and slams on their brakes and waits. I don't get that.
That's never gonna change.
Well,
I mean, that's human nature.
You're right, but
You
that's,
can
you know,
put in all the speed
it's just a
bumps
little
you
hint
want.
from Halloween while I'm
I'm
standing here saying
talking,
it.
I'm talking now, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
I'd like you to listen, okay? My opinion, speed bumps really aren't gonna add to this. And I've lived on Blackberry for 7 years. I've never seen anybody speed on Blackberry. It's too short of a street. But we're gonna look at it and see. But just so you know, speed bumps are not the end all. The problem here is enforcement. If we started handing out tickets, this would end in 2 weeks. That's my comment. Thank you.
There's your
Thank
fine
you.
committee.
Okay, Carl.
We had Carl.
Yeah, I didn't put my name down because I didn't know I had to. I thought it was after the meeting. I gotta agree with Jeff, okay? If people do speed down Blackberry, fantastically fast, okay? Close calls happen every day. And if you don't see them, you're not looking, because it happens every day. One thing I wanted to ask today was about the audit. What happened to the audit?
They were trying to get it done for me for tonight, but they didn't end up getting it done, so we'll have it next
You're that
month.
close?
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
right at.
Oh, okay, I thought maybe you guys just forgot about the audit and, you know.
We
Well,
took-
that's the way it was, for the
We took
last
the money
5 or
and
6
ran.
years, that's the way it was. So, I like that, you know, I like the,
As soon as we get that, we will share it.
yeah, okay. But listen, before I go sit down, I got another minute, I guess.
Not really.
Blackberry always had a speed bump on it, okay? Always had a
Yes,
speed bump.
yes, we know
It was
that- we
right
know
where-
the
well,
history.
maybe some of the people don't know it, but right where that pilings are, or the pipe, that was a speed bump. But when they paved it, they paved that speed bump over.
Been here 10 years.
They removed it.
What was that?
I've been here 10 years and there's never been one.
Okay, all right, let's keep it going.
Yeah, you can't talk in the audience. You can't talk in the audience.
Oh, okay.
We understand. I know where you're on speed bumps, and I know where you're.
Okay, all right?
Thank you.
I think the board has really been put on notice.
You know it was.
I mean, I've been here for 7 years, and it's been going on for 7 years about speed bumps, speed humps. I think we've got to do something. If we do nothing, we're putting the whole community at risk. I think we need to do something, and we've got to act on it. If it's a trial basis or whatever it is, we've got to do something. We can't just let it go anymore.
And I think I said the same thing a few meetings ago. We talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, and we do nothing, and that is on us.
Exactly right.
That's exactly right.
That's everybody.
Well, Skip was undecided, but I'm going to decide for you.
Everything's good.
Okay, we have the president's report. First, we'll talk about the trash a little bit. For those that don't know, in the summertime, we're having the trash dumpsters emptied weekly, and that's $2,100 a month. In the winter, it's twice a week, so how much is that? 42. We have the recycling bin out there, which really reduces the amount of trash that we have to haul out of the dumpsters. And that's why we discussed the breakdown of the boxes and what you put in there. When building material residue, we'll say, goes in there, then they're talking to Eric and they want to fine us for putting the unauthorized material into that dumpster.
That's actually the bulk trash area. But in the dumpster, in the recycle dumpster, like there was a time somebody threw a couple televisions in there. They just won't pick it up, and then we'll get the televisions out, and they don't come back. You know, it's once a week, and that's it. And then that's when we're stuck with a full dumpster.
So what I have noticed is that we are doing remodeling here. There was a full-size Kohler toilet box in there. Didn't know go through that hole, but it did, along with a microwave box and some rather large boxes from Amazon. I know some of those boxes are difficult to break down, and I'm sure that if you left them by the side of the dumpster, so you got a new air conditioner, which was in there too. One of us guys would be glad to break that down for you. When Bruce sees it there, we'll direct him to break those down. But we want to reduce the bulkage in that so it's a little more compact. We did get a price on Paver Repair in the pool area, which I'm sure Bill England will discuss a little bit, but I believe that's just under $5,000, and we have to get the jacuzzi repaired also. The bocce ball court repairs have begun. We took the carpet back. We're going to strip that material down, see what kind of base we have, and then we'll lay some new carpeting on there. So that should be ready for season. The remainder of the bike racks will be moved, and you've probably noticed we've got that sidewalk. It's been poured, and it's not 100% complete. We need to do a little bit of sod around the edges, and we're going to have to put some sort of a railing at least on the one side of it, because there's going to be a bit of a drop out off on the edge. We had to run a drainage pipe underneath there. And at the end, we have the open forum, and we're going to keep that limited to topics of tonight's meeting. Also, this is 10 years for Eric. Big congratulations for him. And with that, Eric, would you please present your manager's report?
Sure.
Eric, there's a lot of feedback here.
Yeah, let's see if. So some of the things already were talked about. Other items are just going to be short and sweet because I know the committee reports will contain some of it. But the audit, we are finalizing that with the auditors. They told me they would try to have it to me yesterday or today, but I didn't get it. So we'll have it definitely, hopefully, next month. Banking. We've got some investments as an association that are locked up in some very low interest type of returns due to the environment that was 6 months ago or a year ago, and it's changed very much. So we're going to move some money around and reconfigure some of our investments where we can go from a fraction of a percent to 2.5% and 3% interest, which would be significant gains for the association. We're getting our generator ready, and we're loading up on gas just in case of a hurricane. As Bob talked about, the sidewalk, the concrete portion is complete. The new AC unit in the clubhouse is in. It's nice and cool. It feels good. Bocce is a work in progress, but as Bob said, we're working on it. And then the new teleentry box, which was installed yesterday, I'm going to give a presentation showing you guys how it works and how to use it. And then we'll create that into a handout that you can also have to use. And then lights were added to the bridge as were requested at the last meeting. The first portion of the signs up at the front entrance have been replaced. We're going to replace the second set. What I did want to do is watch how the teleentry works and see if any verbiage we need to change on some of those custom signs and the way we have it set up for people to come in, but I'm pretty sure it will basically be the same. The landscaping at the northeast corner of Sailview is complete, and I think those should roll in rather quickly. And that's my manager's report. I know a lot of it will be going over again here, so I don't want to go too far into detail.
Thank you, Eric. Scott is not with us tonight, so Eric will be reading Scott's treasurer's report.
Okay, this is Treasurer's Report, August 17th, 2022. I can report again this month that the Treasury remains stable. While a lot of work has been completed around the community, we have not had any large unanticipated operating expenses, although proper maintenance of our large shade trees is becoming a more costly expense. There are 3 areas where it seems we'll be over budget at the end of the year: electricity, pool chemicals, and insurance. All 3 of these items are things that we have little to no control over. So this is Scott talking. I recently asked Eric to review the cost of the pool chemicals and see if a better price can be found elsewhere, and we cannot. The company that we've been with forever is far and away the least expensive. Electricity, we have talked about in prior meetings. FPL has nearly doubled their fuel surcharge and added other additional fees to the point where we're seeing a total cost in the electric over 20% year over year expense, probably closer to 25. Insurance is a difficult situation due to the lack of competition in the state. There are only 2 companies in the state that will insure a community like ours. Since we were required by law to carry the coverage, we had no option other than to accept the coverage and premiums which were offered. We have 7 owners currently in collections, 3 that are at the attorney, 4 are beginning the process, and is respectfully submitted by Scott Harris, Treasurer.
Eric, are the pool chemicals, is that just inflation increase in the price?
I think it's a combination of the increase in fuel and the chemicals both going up at the same time. They get delivered once a week.
Okay, we're gonna do our committee reports next. John, you have a safety committee meeting or anything lately?
Ed, Ricky, thank you for being here. You brought us a good man. I think we're gonna keep it.
Well, I was just gonna say, if it's Eric's 10-year anniversary, it's 10 years since I was on the board when we hired him.
How are we doing?
You're doing a hell of a job. Ann was there.
So again, ring doorbells, please. If you can, the more eyes we have out there, the less crime we're gonna have. The crime is getting worse with the economy the way it is. They're looking to take everything you own. Please lock your back doors, lock your front doors, lock your cars. I know it's silly to say, I know we're all trusting individuals, but it's getting that bad. And I'm glad that the stop signs are working. The new tele-entry has a few kinks, but we're gonna work that out. And again, we only have a few speeders that are habitual problems. We know one of them lives over here on Green Cypress. If he could just slow down to 10 miles an hour and take the bumps, it'd be all right. Again, if you're out there and you see a vehicle go by you at a high rate of speed, please report it to the office. We need to be able to write this guy up and take him through the courts. Thank you in the back of the room, I'm still talking. Again, please watch when you're out walking. If you can, wear reflective clothing, carry a flashlight if you're out at night. Again, please, you have to look out for yourself because some of these people cannot drive. And please, again, ring doorbells. All you need is Wi-Fi in your house and they'll work. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Fortunately, we live in a compound situation and we are relatively safe, but an ounce of prevention goes a long way, and that's what this is all about. Tom, could you tell us what's happening with our website?
Well, you all know the website went up a couple of weeks ago. There has been some glitches. Keep in mind that the old website is still up and operating, and that was the plan. That the new one, we knew there would be issues. We've got 462 people to get hooked up on that thing. So use the old one if you need the directory. We're currently having problems with the directory, and it's a combination of some glitches with our accounting firm, which is where we get the database downloaded into the website. So there's that software isn't communicating exactly the way it's supposed to be. A number of you have gotten had difficulty getting in. I've been able to correct most of those issues. We've got a couple that are in for work tickets with Front Steps, the website company, and we're having a Zoom meeting with the big shots, the head tech guy on Friday. So hopefully we'll get all of those problems fixed.
And Tom, we're at about 200 people registered.
164.
164. So just to put that into perspective, in a community like this, not everybody's on the internet and wanting to interact with the website. 164 is about 35% of the community. We were happy when we started the original website to get anywhere close to that. So I think we're doing pretty good for less than a month, and basically having 35% of the people on there.
Right, and actually, of the people who have Wi-Fi and were on the website before.
And many people are unaware because they're up north and they don't necessarily watch the meetings. So
Right.
that's the other thing.
Yep, so that'll pick up later in the fall, but we're working on all the glitches and it'll be up and running. The good news is the front end of the website, the public site, is up and working fine. All of the pictures and the amenities, so if someone's out there and tries to get on from the general public, that's working just fine. And most of the things on the back end are okay. There's just a couple issues, so that will progress with time. If any of you have a question or are having any kind of problems, if you want to stay after the meeting, I'll stay here and work with you, or just send me an email and I'll get you on my list and we'll get all these things fixed. It's just going to get better. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Lori, how's our landscaping?
The butterfly garden appears to be doing well, although short on butterflies at the moment. About a week and a half ago, 12
Microphone.
You want to talk?
Please.
Yeah.
Butterfly garden's doing well, although short on butterflies at the moment. About a week and a half ago, 12 milkweed plants were added to the garden and are doing well, so hopefully that will help bring in more caterpillars and butterflies. The caterpillars eat the leaves of the host plants, such as milkweed, and butterflies drink the nectar from the flowers, and it appears each species of butterfly prefers a different host and nectar plant. After a bit of research on ground cover plants that are both native and host plants to butterflies, the Landscape Committee has requested 3 or 4 plants of sunshine mimosa and frog fruit to be purchased and added. One frog fruit plant was donated by Shannon, and it was planted and it's doing very well, so I think that would be a good thing to do. I'd also like to talk about native plants. They provide conservation benefits and are adapted to Florida's growing conditions, including soil, climate, and insects. They generally require very little attention once they are fully established, and most importantly, require fewer pesticides to cope with typical insect pests. Native plant species best serve specific nutritional needs of Florida pollinators, such as birds, butterflies, and bees. Their declaration requires 50% or more new plants in Pine Ridge to be Florida native. The Landscape Committee is working on a list of Florida native plants to be published on the new Pine Ridge website. Keep in mind that this list will be evergreen or a living document. It will be continually edited and updated. References will be included at the bottom of the document. We're also going to publish a list of invasive plant species, because as we've been researching native plants, many plants, including houseplants that we're familiar with, are considered invasive when they're planted outdoors in South Florida. I was surprised to learn, but English ivy, pathos, snake plant, there's a lot of them actually. It will also be an evergreen living document and will be continually edited and updated. The next Landscape Committee meeting will be Wednesday, September 28th. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. Ann, what's going on with our rules?
Well, it's been requested that we have a meeting, so a meeting will be September 8th at 2 p.m. So
Anyone interested in the rules and regulations?
last meeting was very poorly attended, as you may remember. Marcia was there, Tom and Eric and me.
That sounds like my meeting.
So anyhow, there will be, they'll make sure, I think they'll put a notification around, and so September 8th, I think that's a Thursday, as I recall.
I believe so, yeah.
What?
I believe it is.
Wednesday,
What? Wednesday?
28th is
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Is that what we
Thursday.
wanted to have it a Wednesday? Yeah,
The
that's,
8th, the
It's
8th.
gotta be a
Oh, the
Thursday.
8th, I'm sorry.
It's a Thursday.
it's gotta be, what?
Go ahead, Frank.
It's a Thursday,
It is
Thursday
a
the
Thursday.
8th.
That's
I'm
what I
sorry.
thought.
Thursday the 8th at 2 p.m.
All right. Thursday, 8th at 2 p.m.
We hope to see everybody there.
Anybody wants to cares, show up.
Thank you, Ann. I want to, on a side note, thank those that have taken care of the pots and the decorations that you might have received a notice on. And we will have Bruce take care of any holes in the villas from screws or something of that nature. Please call the office, let Pam know where you're at, so we can put that on our list and get those taken care of. Bill, what's going on with our amenities on Lake?
Okay. As our lake continues to improve, however, the overall appearance of the water surface doesn't seem to reflect this. The rain and the wind continues to break up the debris from the decaying plants on the lakeside, and they float to the surface. There is a noticeable decline in the amount of debris we have floating, and it continues to improve. A question was posed as to the water quality, and it seems that it has decreased. Reports this week from my water sampler says that they are still within range. One of the local fisher ladies said she saw a turtle eating a bass. This is normal, as soft-shelled turtles are carnivorous and eat fish. The hard shells don't, but the soft shells do. I will continue to monitor the situation. As you probably noticed, our bocce ball court is out of play for a while. We're in the process of stripping the old surface and power washing as to determine the repairs before the new coating can be applied. The repairs around the spa area are on hold for the time being, as a contractor has given us a proposal and it's being evaluated. I have proposed that we go ahead after the repairs of the spa and complete and apply the new Marsite or Gunite, whichever one you want to call it, to the spa after the repairs are done. That way we'll have that portion of it completed when it comes time for that and the pool to be done at the same time. Since it's already going to have the crack repaired, we might as well go ahead and spend a little extra money and finish that up. Okay, Mark reports that the horseshoe pits are progressing, and this is going to take a little while, but it's not a really big project to do, and he says he can get it finished up in a short period. I've put off having any committee meetings until fall, and then we'll start those back. And as always, if you have any comments or concerns or questions, please just give me a call or send me an email at billengland1900@gmail, or call me at 239-940-5064. Thank you and have a happy day.
Thank you, Bill. Our architectural committee, we have not had a meeting recently. We haven't needed to have a meeting. I just want to have a little friendly reminder, if you're doing any kind of serious work on your unit, windows, air conditioner, that kind of thing, you need to turn in an architectural review for that. We're going to add some a section regarding security cameras and the placement of those. There's nothing wrong with Ring doorbell, as we've said on and on, we know where that goes, but we're looking at privacy issues of neighbors and so on. So we can come up with something in our documents related to that. Okay, now I want the social committee to come up and give a report. We're gonna start doing this a little bit different. Would you please come have a seat next to Lori for a few minutes? I'd like you to be on camera and address everybody. Surprise, surprise.
That's the reason you waited until afterwards.
Thank you, I guess. Okay, I don't have a lot. I didn't have a lot prepared for tonight because we're really just starting up our activities again. So the Labor Day picnic, as you know, is on the board. It is September 5th at 1 o'clock here at the clubhouse. It's going to be a burger bar along with lots of other goodies, and your check in the box is your reservation. That's that. The other thing at our last meeting, our last social committee meeting, it was brought up that a lot of the people that participate in the craft fair twice a year would like to be able to open up the community to this.
You mean the outside community?
That's correct. They don't feel that there's really any reason why that can't happen. Other communities do it, whatever. There are a lot of ifs and ands about it. Maybe someone would have to be out at the gate. Well, we're not security officers, so I don't think that would work myself, but I explained that that would be a decision that you as board of directors would make. So I will hand that willingly over to you, and you can just let me know if that's possible. And we'll go from there, okay? And the only other thing I have is pertaining to the website. I didn't get an invitation to the website
Okay.
at all, like I didn't get anything. Jolene got something, but she wasn't able to get on at all. She couldn't do anything with it, so,
Okay.
I mean, we
Put you on
can,
my list.
yeah, put us on the list. Other than that, that's all for right now. There will be a Halloween party coming up October 29th. I can't think off the top of my head other dates, like I say, I wasn't
Potluck.
prepared. Oh, the potluck is this Saturday night at 6 here at the clubhouse, if you'd like to come out and enjoy that. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you.
I go sit down.
Take the rest of the day off.
With that.
We're gonna, before we get into the old business, we had that request to change volleyball hours. Is there a motion to do that?
I'd like to, I mean, is there anyone who objects to those for any reason that anyone knows of?
Is that what the volleyball folks want to do?
Move it up a half an hour.
The volleyball
for,
folks want that. Is there any objection to, anyone know?
I think in the summertime, it'd probably be fine. In the wintertime, you're gonna have a few upset people that swim from 4 to whenever.
I have a feeling the reason why they would like to move it up is that we start our activities, like we have cornhole at night, and I think they'd like to if they want to do both, they could do that if it started at 4 o'clock, so they could be done
And our meetings are 6
and
or
our meetings are
6:30.
6 o'clock or 6:30, so that way you could do that and then come to these meetings and not.
Eric's pretty much right. Right now, it's pretty empty all afternoon there.
Can I make a motion with volleyball to change their hours from 4 to 5:30?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Maybe it was a little early. John?
Aye.
Susie, aye?
Aye.
I abstain.
I abstain.
So you're gonna say yes.
We'll go ahead and try that out for the summer hours and see how it goes.
Or even try it out for 30 days until next meeting. If it's
Sure.
fine, yeah.
Sure, we'll do that for the next 30 days.
Glory.
Well, if anybody at home has some feedback related to that, I know there's a lot of people that just aren't here right now, so go ahead and email the office and throw your comment in there. So, old business, under old business tonight, we'll be discussing the new gate entry system. And Eric is going to do a quick demonstration on that. Should be pretty basic. Eric?
Hang on one sec, I'm just gonna try to get this here, so the people at home can see.
I was not aware that the gate system was changing, and I missed a very important ride last night because I didn't know how to operate it for my guests to get in and get me.
Yeah, there wasn't any notification.
No notification, no email, no notification.
It's been discussed at the last two meetings, I'm sorry.
It has been discussed, you're correct, but if there was,
Audience cannot talk with the board after the meeting, not to interrupt you. We're going to go through how it works right now, and hopefully that will help you and it won't happen.
it wouldn't have helped me last night.
Well, last night, I don't have a time machine, or else we would get the DeLorean and go back, but.
Wow.
Marty.
All right.
I don't remember that.
How to use the new gate time entry system. And we put a little.
And you get the microphone.
Eric, get the mic.
Little yelling, huh?
Okay, better?
Yes.
How to use the new gate tele-entry system. We put a little comic here to lighten everybody up before we get started. If you can't read it, it says, my problem with gated communities is usually the people inside the gate. So, at least we got one up.
I thought it was funny.
So, we're going to start out by talking about the directory codes. The directory codes are going from 3 digits to 4 digits. So you know how you gave everyone your directory code? It's going to be a 4-digit code. In most cases, it's going to be a 0 in front of your old code, but there are certain ones where it's different. But honestly, the old system was so difficult to actually look up someone's name, we had to encourage you to use those numbers. With this system, it is so easy to operate that really, and so easy to read, they're able to go in and do it the proper way, like what you would want, if a delivery or a ride, a pickup or something like that.
That was
So we're going to go through it here. So this is the home screen. When you drive up, you're going to see something similar to this. And you see what the arrow is pointing to is the phone call button. So you're going to hit that button, and it's a touch screen, so it's not actually a button. It's hit the home or the phone call on the screen. And then this is what's going to pop up. It's going to say, find a name, I have a directory code, or quick call the office, which is a new feature, which I think is nice. So I'm encouraging everybody to go to find a name. Click find a name. Then when you get into find the name, it's going to have an alphabetical order list of all the names. But you can touch right there in that black bar where it says touch here to search. And then generally, if you type the first 3 letters of the person's last name, their name will pop up. And then you just click on their name, and it will go through and call it. So how to let go back? Yeah.
Is that husband and wife?
Yeah, this is from another community. This is from, so we're just getting into it. Yeah, but this is from another, this is from the Promenade at Forum West.
But will it be both names?
Right now, it's the same as what it was, okay? How to let someone in. The resident's phone number listed in the gate system will ring. Resident answers the phone. Resident presses 9 on their phone after they verify who it is. Same as you did before. Couple differences. One is everybody that comes through the gate, we're going to have, there's a camera on their face that stores it for 24 hours. We're going to try to get that bumped up to storing every entry for 30 days. It's a small monthly fee. I think it would be worthwhile. Another thing to know is that the new number may come up as like a scam likely type of number at first. So, and it says from Fort Myers Beach actually, but answer that phone because that's going to be the number, that's going to be. Now the phone number is 239-747-0869. So if you save that into your phone as the Pine Ridge Gate, it should pop up in your phone as the Pine Ridge Gate every time. And we're going to have printouts for everybody of this information. Quick call the office. That's a good option if during the day someone's getting delivery and the person's not home or something like that. It's a good thing to have. This option will have the gate call the office. I'm going to order keep up with security measures. We will not let in guests or vendors unless being notified by the resident they are visiting first. We can give instructions if they need further assistance. And that was actually Pamela who was worried about security if people don't let us know and we're just letting everybody in. But having that video of their face though is going to be very effective no matter what. And that is the presentation. So, any questions? Do we want to go through it again? All right, Jackie?
How do you know which, if you're a 0 before, or do you have?
We're going to go through and audit it and let people know. But really, all they have to do is go here, type in TOL, and then tap on your name, and it would call you.
And the fob still works?
And the fobs work the same exact way as they always have.
You know what I'm going to say. I would like to put a plug in a request that if there's 2 adults living in the home that are both residents, that both of them go up there. I still haven't gotten my flowers. Yeah.
And we can look at that, but just like the website, we installed this yesterday.
Yeah.
We're getting everything settled out. Let's get it working for everybody as it is first, and then we can look into what features we can add.
I joke, but there are times it's on Tom's and he's not there, I can't do
Absolutely.
anything. So it's not just I didn't get my birthday flowers, it's I did the safety thing.
No, absolutely. If the other one was so difficult to use, this one has a lot more features. It's bringing us up the next generation, you know. So as we dig into the different features and what we can do, we'll be able to do a lot more than what we used to be able to do. Just the fact that you can find somebody's name reasonably is a huge improvement in my view. Yeah.
The other day we had Comcast come, and he called me 3 times from the gate, and I buzzed him in, but he couldn't get in.
Well, what day was it?
Monday.
So that would have been under the old.
Yeah.
The old. So I don't know what happened there, but
I didn't let the office know, and I finally told him, call the office and see if they can get you in, because I couldn't get him in.
Yeah.
So I didn't have time to let Pam know ahead of time.
yeah, well, Comcast, FedEx, that type of thing, we let in. We have them on camera also, but what Pam was mostly, she doesn't want the office to become the security guard type of thing. So. And we don't want to let anybody in if you don't want them in. You know, some people you might not want in here. So that's not going to be like call the office and they'll just buzz you in type of thing. You gotta.
What about the vendor codes? Are they still going to be in there, and the realtors and all that, or are
Yes.
they going to have to go through this?
Yeah, no, the vendors will have a, that's our, the entry code PIN. That's for realtors, vendors, and people like that. Well, police have a remote in their car. Police, fire, and yeah, police, fire, and EMS State Patrol, I don't know if they don't carry it, but there's like a 911 type of alert relay in the boxes, and all of the local, it's required in Lee and Collier County that you have these, and they all have a remote that will open all the gates in every community. Now, I've had the fire department out here before, and they didn't check the batteries on their remote. And it wouldn't open. So I mean, no system is perfect just because there's so many things, but yeah, there's a system, every community is required to have it, and that's how they get in. State police is probably state, and that's different, yeah.
Eric,
Yes.
are the correct numbers in there now? So before we get the notice that says we've got a 0 before.
Yeah, you could go search
You
your
put your
name. You
name.
could go search your name, and then you would see,
It's set up.
see your code, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the code is either probably going to be a 0 at the front of it or a 0 at the end of it. Some of them, in order, I think it doubled over if they put the 0 at the front. But yeah, just to roll through it again. Find a name, you hit the green button, right? Phone call. Find a name. Search for the name. So if I was searching for Trino, it would be TRE. Trino would pop up. Click on which one you want, if we can have both. And then go through the same process that you always have. Just be aware of this new phone number, and it's going to come up as a scam likely. If you have a total spam blocker on your phone, you're going to want to turn it off until you get this programmed in, or program it in. But we will have this printed on paper for everybody. Pat, and then we'll go to Jackie.
So when they look up the name, I noticed there's a little green telephone button there, and then also the code. Are they gonna have to put the code in, or can
No,
they
they
just
just
press
hit-
that button?
They just can just tap your name.
Tap the name?
Yeah,
Okay.
they can just tap the name.
Are we gonna have, two names that can be like Jackie Tolles and Bob Tolles?
That's what I was just telling Marcia. Once I get into the software a little more and see how it works and how many it can hold, we'll try to do something like that. Yeah.
Put it after the name.
But it's
Does the resident side still work with the transponder?
yeah, the resident
No
side.
change.
The resident side still works with the transponder. The one difference is that it's voice over IP, the phone line, which means it's like if you have a Comcast phone in your house instead of CenturyLink. So if the internet goes down for any reason, that phone may go down, but we have pretty steady internet up there where we don't have that issue. Anyone else? But it works a lot more like what people are used to nowadays using their phone is basically what it does. And Jackie, did you have? Oh, you asked your question. Pat. Pat, and then okay, sorry.
And what about, before the sun out there was so bright that people couldn't see the name? Is this somehow so that they're gonna be able to see?
Yeah, it's a different type of screen.
So they'll be able to see it?
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on it, and if it seems like we're having that problem, we'll figure something out to resolve that.
So if I give my son my code, he can just hit entry code and put in the code to come in?
No, you're going to go to phone call, no matter what.
No matter what.
Everybody's going to go to phone call, yeah. And then find a name, or I have a directory code. That's why I recommend everyone just to use the find a name, because it's so easy and it eliminates the confusion. A lot of time the confusion that people had with the last gate was people would go up there and they would start dialing the person's phone number up there. That's not going to work. They couldn't read it. They couldn't. It was just an antiquated system, and this is very, very much more intuitive and easier.
So if we're having somebody come in, we shouldn't give them the code then?
Well, if you want to, you can.
Okay.
But you can also say, find a name, type in FRI, you'll see us pop up, and then click it, and then we'll let you in,
So if they have a code, they just push in the code
If
then?
they
I
have-
have a directory.
If they have I have a directory code, and then call you through that. They wouldn't have to search for your name. Right.
Will our fobs work on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, it's the same exact fob reader. We didn't even buy a new one. It still worked and we reused it.
If you have family or kids or something like that come over and you're gonna naturally you're gonna tell your kids what your four number code is.
Yeah.
They can just come to the gate and
No,
punch in the code,
no.
they gotta go through all.
The 4-number code is not a magic open pass for the gate.
That's
If we did that, we might as well just remove the gates because everybody in town would have the code. 10 years ago, when I started working here, we didn't have those gates. We had just the black swing gates. And we installed the system from scratch, the original system. Why? Because the code was the zip code, 33905. And everybody in town knew it. And even if they didn't, it opened long enough for 10 cars in a row to drive in anyway. So it really wasn't a secure system. So if it was a code that you could just give people and they could get in, then they're going to tell other people and everyone's going to have the code. So what this code, the directory code is your, like the number that you have now, they can enter that, it's going to call you, and you have to push 9 still. It's still the same as that. But they can go in and find your name pretty easy. And anyone who uses a cell phone or has a screen in their car, they're pretty used to this type of interface.
If anybody wants to ride with Ed Ricky to help him in, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Just so everybody knows.
That's what happens when you're 84 years old, sorry.
This was the easiest one to do, and remember that the board puts out at least 3 RFPs, requests for proposals, on everything that we purchase. So everybody on the board is aware of what's, with Bill's amenities, we have 3 requests for proposals at least. And that's on the hot tub, that's on the pavers. We do the whole process, just so you know. Eric will tell you more how that works if he wants to.
Well, one thing I was gonna say is I was at the National Community Management Convention, and there was a big gate company, and they were showing off their equipment. And as far as tele-entry systems went, this is the one that they were showing, and basically any company would charge the same price. It is what it is. So he didn't even try to sell it to me. They had a proprietary one that they want you to buy, but this LiftMaster, yeah, it's going to be a big improvement, and you guys will notice it, I think. So we're hoping it works well. If you have any issues, you can always contact us, and we'll get you.
So if you have no friends and you never get deliveries, nothing changes.
Yeah,
just try again.
I mean, there will be a couple bumps. It had to be, the data had to manually be taken out of the old system, which is called Linear, and moved over to this CapXL is what this is called. And, I'm sure one number probably got typed wrong at some point as they transferred that over. But everybody should be working, no problem. If they're having a problem, call us right away. And we're getting pretty good at it. So we'll, it's only been 2 days, but we're getting pretty good.
Eric, my request or comment, if we can't add more numbers to the system, could we do Tom and Trino, Tom and Marcia? If we can.
Is there enough room? I don't know if there's enough room, but.
Oh, it would still only be one number.
It'd still be only one number. No, in order to do it this,
Thank you very much.
and then the people would have two different directory codes also. Yeah.
Okay.
But
thank you.
but yeah, the old one had a capacity. So this one, I don't know if there's a capacity, but I think most likely since it's cloud-based, it's probably where we can do it more. Yeah.
They take care of the promenade, they should be taking care of it.
Yeah, the promenade at Forum, but those are the single-family homes over at Forum. That's where my dad lives.
Well, thank you, Eric. That's a pretty good explanation, and I would invite anybody to get in their car and go out there and drive in with your cell phone. Look yourself up and try it out. But what you will notice is I've looked at this screen in direct sunlight, and you can read it. It's very good.
And If you do decide to do what Bob suggested, your transponder may open up the resident side of the gate.
Probably will.
Don't be concerned, that's on a timer, and I think 30 or 45 seconds it will close.
Well, then you'll know firsthand exactly how it works.
Thanks, Eric.
Well, we don't have any new business tonight. Do any of the board members have any new business they would like to discuss?
Yes, it's not exactly new, but I would remind all of us board members that we were elected to represent this community. And I think there's been enough talk about speeding in this community that we need to decide that we are going to do something about it. And in lieu of this, I would like to make a motion that we instruct our manager with whoever help he enlists to look into and be able to announce by next meeting something that we are going to do to control the speed in the community. And that, I put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? I'd discuss it. If you have any ideas on how to accomplish this?
Let's just vote on the motion, please. Yeah, he can, he can look at the information that Jeff provided with us. I'm sure that I know I've seen other things. I booked just the other day with possibilities. I just think we need to come up with something that we're going to try. Not that we're going to wipe the whole community with speed bumps, but something we're going to try.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we should need to go out and look at, go to other communities to see what they have, drive over some of these humps ourselves, and I wouldn't necessarily put an artificial deadline of have a plan to vote on next month or not. But
Not necessarily to vote on, but something to present back to this community. They've asked us and asked us and asked us to do something. And this was 10 years ago. Ed talked about this same problem. And it's 10 years we've done nothing. And we and other boards.
I would suggest one of the things we strongly look at, being that out of 462 residents, there's probably 10, maybe 15 who speed. And we all know it's the same people. And what we need to do is stop those people. And the only way to do that is to enforce the rule. And I think we should look into a speed thing that says you go on 22 miles an hour with a camera.
Tom, if we know who these people are and it's repeated, why have we not done something?
Good question.
Yeah, well, as you guys were talking, I was if we can identify the people and address them individually to correct their behavior, and like you hate to make a rule for one person, so to put speed bumps in for everybody, like a rule for everybody, because one or two people are speeding.
Exactly.
So if there, I don't know if that's possible or not, though. A lot of times people aren't going to agree to slow it.
Well, can't we fine people for?
No.
Who said no? Why not?
Well, you can fine them.
Hold on.
We can fine people, but you know, without the actual speed and radar, and they did it. It's hard to really prove it. But if you fine people, it's $100 a day up to $1,000, and
every time
we can't use it as a lien against your property. But when you sell your property, you'll have to pay those fines, probably plus the interest, which is 18%.
Oh, can I?
That's what the rules say.
Go ahead.
So listen, we need to table this. We get 3 people to go with Eric, go look at some other communities, see what they have. Then we come back, we'll give a report at our next meeting, and we'll go from there. As far as everybody with these fines, listen, if we ask people to do stuff, a lot of them have cooperated with taking down their pots, their little articles on their garages, everything else like that. we really don't need to be threatening fines as of this point. I think we start small and we keep working that way. Eventually, everybody will get it, but we don't need to be out there and issuing tickets and stuff right now. Let's do a little at a time. We don't want the whole community up in an uproar, and we don't want to go and spend $150,000 on speed bumps when we can just do a little at a time. In this economy, we haven't had any special assessments here. I don't think that we need to look towards, that stuff. We need to just calm, cool, little steps and try to move in the right direction. If it hasn't happened in 10 years, it's not going to change in another year.
And as far as fines go, we have issued fines at times, but I'll tell you, sending someone a letter fining them for any reason generally is a lot less effective in getting them to modify their behavior than just approaching them like a nice person and asking them to do the right thing. That's just what I've found. It's a good way to get people mad at me. They're mad at us here and upset, and spend a lot of time on things that could be resolved in a 5-minute conversation with most people.
My understanding
We
was,
do have some people that aren't reasonable though, and well, so you never know.
my understanding what Ann is asking is just for a plan. She's not asking to go out and put in speed bumps or speed humps everywhere. We just need a plan. That's all we need. We haven't anything to start with right now.
Yeah, we
She
can
just
work
wanting
on
a
it.
plan, and that's what I seconded the motion has to be, is a plan.
I think we could look at the cost and the placement and how many that it would take to achieve that, because as Jeff stated, if they're too far apart, that just allows them to accelerate in between your speed bumps, so you would have to have quite a bit of speed humps in here to maintain that speed so they're not going over. And yes, it probably would look like a washboard situation, but we need to look at the cost and everything else. We've had conversations internally about paying 15 miles an hour on the middle of the road, so these people that delivered here see it, because the 6-inch sign off to the side is not that noticeable.
At one time, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, we actually had a security company working here in the evenings, and there's not a lot of action that goes on here, but if somebody was speeding or rolling through the stop sign, they would pull them over and write them a little citation and give it to us in the morning. But I don't know how effective that was or not. I remember it was when Janet Miranda was the president, and I think somebody was driving her home and they got pulled over, and she thought it was wonderful because she was happy that it was, the security was doing a good job. But yeah, there's no perfect answer. It's the #1 problem in every community is speeding, and it's not something that's going to change if you move somewhere else. Teresa.
No, Derek, as far as the companies that come in here for deliveries, speeding, Amazon, and whoever these other companies are, I personally don't get anything delivered, but I do see the trucks and they don't care who's out on the street, they speed. Is there some way that we can get a hold of management of Amazon or whoever is there higher up saying, this is a community that does not want their people killed. If your drivers come in here speeding, you will not be allowed to deliver in here. If that, yes sir, they will not be allowed to deliver in here.
We understand what you're saying. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second, we need to vote.
I have one more comment, sorry. The idea of finding people and enforcement, I want to point out an example. The entire 7 years I lived here, we could not get people to move their bikes out of the hallways. They had them chained to the railings. It was just a mess. We put up signs that said, don't do this or you'll be fined. And there hasn't been a single bicycle in any hallway since. enforcement works. And I think we should consider it as one of the options in next month's meeting.
Could we vote on the motion?
Okay, we have a motion to look into, I believe, the cost and what a plan might be with the use of speed humps, is that correct?
Speed bumps, speed humps, speed whatever.
How about speed, or how about fines?
Some kind of speed control,
And does that
something that
include
we're going
fines?
to do.
Does that include enforcement? And
Any and all options.
No, the motion does not include fines.
How about that?
She just said speed bumps or humps in her.
We're looking at solutions, not penalties. We're looking at solutions.
Right, exactly right.
Okay, so let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
abstain?
Aye. We're gonna look into this. Doesn't cost us anything to look into it, put some prices together so we know exactly what we're talking about. There's plenty of research out there. Speed humps in a series do slow people down, and you typically see them at a hospital, not in a parking lot. Jeff's right. They would have to be close enough together to prevent them from accelerating in between, so you're looking at a lot of money. So, motion passes. We're gonna look into it, we'll put some prices together, we'll let you know next month.
Let me say one thing before we go, okay? Everybody in this community, everybody, when you go out shopping, you go over speed bumps. And what do? They slow you down. So when you say it doesn't work, you may not like it, but everybody in here knows what speed bumps are because you go to Publix, you go over speed bumps. You go to the doctor, you go to speed bumps.
Cautious drivers know what speed bumps are, cautious drivers don't speed, cautious drivers slow down for speed bumps. Carl and Jeff, would you please get together with me a little bit later and we can discuss this off?
I just have one thing to say. You're doing the meeting on the 9th of
Yeah.
September?
8th.
I'm gonna be out of town that weekend, and the people that want the meeting want it at night, because they work. So that's why a lot of people aren't showing up for the meeting during the day.
All right, that's no problem.
We could talk about that.
Get me a date that you're not gonna be out of town, because you were the one who requested the meeting. Get with me, and it doesn't matter, it can be an evening meeting when the clubhouse is available.
Okay. And I'll get with the people that have been asking me about it. And
All right, get back with me, so forget the 8th people, at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, Ann. Do we have any other new business from board members?
I move we adjourn this meeting.
Amen.
We're not
No,
gonna
it's
have
supposed to
any
be second. Carl has been working that.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, my mother's calling.
Calling you what?
Listen, you're dead. And John, don't talk to me anymore.
You sound so long you can't even walk
We're gonna have to put signs in, stay all that.
3-story and above. Put something together for us.
Have a good night, guys. Turn it off.
You're suing yourself.
What do you mean,